Welcome to TNN's daily headline and prophecy news with your host and angel of truth, Joan of Arc. Joan will be sharing truth-filled, hard-hitting factual news on a daily basis covering the topics of health, financial, geopolitical issues, and more. So please join Joan as she covers the news in these prophetic times. And remember, the truth shall set you free. We also want to introduce you to our friends at Divine Source Solutions, your divine source for health, prosperity and spiritual growth. They are a diverse group of believers, pastors, doctors, social workers, teachers, public servants, business owners, parents, Native American tribal leaders and more. United by their shared faith in a loving God. Whether you are dealing with health issues, lost a job, losing a home, food scarcity concerns or struggling to prosper financially, they will partner with you to create a workable solution based on your current situation. They share our belief here at Trinity News Network, that there are no governmental or political solutions to the problems we are facing in this fallen world. So their health and prosperity care ministries were created to coach you with spiritually and professionally based real-life solutions to stay healthy and prosper in these difficult times. You may choose to achieve this through a combination of attending their self-paced 52-week video blog Bible study series, online sermons through Fire and Grace Church, free health coaching and weight management guidance, prayer assistance, additional daily headline and prophecy news and more. You can reach out to them at www.divinesourcesolutions.org. We are also proud of our friends at the Support Local Foundation and their humanitarian efforts in restoring health and prosperity, one community at a time. Their local featured small business owners are offering simple local solutions to complex problems in a community near you. So check them out at www.supportlocalfoundation.org. So here's your host and angel of truth, Joan of Arc.
Hello, this is Joan of Arc, your host and angel of truth with Trinity News Network, where the truth shall set you free. Welcome and thanks for joining me on this Wednesday, January 11th, 2023. So, let's get started on the latest with foreign policy in the news. Disappointed, Biden didn't visit masses of illegal migrants during border visit. President Joe Biden didn't see the illegal migrants in El Paso, Texas during his first visit to the U.S.-Mexico border Sunday. Biden spent roughly 4 hours in El Paso, where hundreds of illegal migrants are sleeping and panhandling in the streets. His visit included meetings with local non-governmental organizations aiding illegal migrants, federal law enforcement officials and local elected officials. Biden visited the El Paso County Migrant Services Center, which aids illegal migrants released from Border Patrol custody. However, he didn't see any illegal migrants in the facility. He also didn't see any illegal migrants while standing on the border. I didn't care which shelter he visited or which hospitality side, but it was my hope that he would actually be able to see what we're seeing on the ground at this point. Director for the Opportunity Center for the Homeless John Martin, who accompanied Biden at the Migrant Center Sunday, told the Daily Caller News Foundation. Federal authorities along the U.S.-Mexico border encountered a record of more than 2.3 million migrants in fiscal year 2022. Whether that be a visit to the rescue mission or to Sacred Heart or to our program, it really didn't matter, but I wanted him to see it firsthand. And so I was a bit disappointed in that area, Martin said. Ahead of Biden's visit, trash cans appeared outside the Sacred Heart Church, where the illegal migrants are receiving aid and protection from arrest. The illegal migrants sleeping on the streets outside of the church told the Daily Caller News Foundation that they were cleaning for the president's arrival. I think we did him an injustice because whenever we clean up our streets, whenever we diminish the amount of people in our processing centers, whenever we clean things up so much that where it doesn't see a problem, then he's got a picture to go back to DC and tell others that there's no issues here on the border. There's no crisis. When just 2 days ago, our streets were full of illegal aliens, they were full of trash and people living in tents on our streets. Our processing centers were over capacity. Bill Jackson, a recently retired Border Patrol agent and a resident of El Paso, told the DCNF Sunday. "I think he would have a different approach and mindset if he would see what we see daily and not El Paso being cleaned up because of his visit, but just a regular day that we face," Torres added. The White House didn't immediately respond to a request for comment. So, let's get started on the latest with health policy in the news. The endgame of government healthcare is government-assisted suicide. When leftists talk of universal healthcare, they conjure up imagery of a utopia in which everyone is healthy, vibrant, and fully covered to live their best lives. The reality of what is actually on the agenda, though, is much more sinister. It turns out that mass genocide is the goal, as demonstrated by what Canada is doing right now in pursuit of government-assisted suicide for all. The glamorization of choosing one's own death with the government's help is currently in full swing there and is soon to be in full swing here in the United States. In Canada, it all began in 1984 when Canadian leftists in government slapped together a single-payer healthcare scheme that promised free healthcare for everyone. By collectively paying into this new provincially administered, but federally and provincially funded, scheme, Canadian citizens would have unlimited and free access to the healthcare they need. The Canadian government's stated mission with universal healthcare is to protect, promote and restore the physical and mental well-being of residents of Canada and to facilitate reasonable access to health services without financial or other barriers. Sounds nice, right? In practice, however, something much different is happening. Nearly 40 years after Canada's universal healthcare scheme began, the system is rapidly running out of money. In order to keep going, many Canadians will need to die, hence the ongoing push for expanded access to government-assisted suicide, or euthanasia. Maintaining a low-cost, easy access, government-run healthcare program in a large, democratic country with a growing dependent-to-workforce ratio just isn't working out for Canada, writes Kenneth Schrupp for The Federalist about the situation. Low pay for medical professionals, who still have to pay for college and medical school, has created an acute shortage of doctors in a country that once boasted one of the best doctor-to-population ratios in the world. In the New World Order, only a few will be allowed to live, the rest face assisted suicide. Since it costs Canadian doctors more to practice than they are able to earn the way the system was constructed, said system is rapidly unwinding. As a result, federal debt is skyrocketing along with inflation, not to mention the really long wait times that Canadians face just to receive care. In this grim situation, reconciling leftist goals of providing no extra cost care for all with fiscal reality requires a shocking technocratic solution eliminating the excess population to relieve them of the suffering inflicted by progressive utopianists, Schrupp says. This isn't an over-exaggeration. The problem will get increasingly worse as more Canadians develop mental illness from having to live in the dystopian nightmare known as the year 2023. Between COVID vaccine mandates, skyrocketing housing and energy costs, and lack of high-paying employment, people everywhere face unprecedented pain and suffering. Even if the healthcare system had answers to these problems, there would still not be enough to go around. This is why assisted suicide, aka euthanasia, is at the forefront of the political conversation in Canada as well as the United States, which is facing similar societal and economic collapse. If the widespread adoption of assisted suicide in countries with universal government health care is any indication, there's little doubt the Medicare for All plans supported by leftist luminaries like Bernie Sanders, Cory Booker, and Elizabeth Warren would soon include suicide for all, Schrupp warns. Indeed, medically assisted suicide is a Democrat-supported issue and has been adopted in 10 Democrat states and is being pushed for in more. Should Democrats gain enough votes to pass universal health care in Congress, they'll have enough votes to approve assisted suicide. So, let's get started on the latest with economy in the news. A job-destroying economic vortex has just been unleashed. Just as we predicted last year, a wave of layoffs has already begun in early 2023 with large workforce reductions announced across crypto, finance, real estate, transportation and big tech. Crypto exchange giant Coinbase just announced it's cutting 20% of its workforce, about 950 positions due to the FTX fallout that's already ensnaring Gemini and DCG. Goldman Sachs just slashed 3,200 jobs this week, according to CNBC, and Michael Snyder from the Economic Collapse blog is reporting large job cuts across companies like Amazon, Vimeo, Salesforce, Silvergate Capital, Biocept and others. McDonald's says it's going to slash a whopping 200,000 worldwide jobs from its corporate staff, tightening its operations as we head into an economic environment in which fewer consumers can even afford Chicken McNuggets. Coming next month, Stellantis will close its Illinois auto factory, slashing 1,350 workers and likely shifting its operations to Mexico. The reason for the shutdown? The high cost of manufacturing electric vehicles. According to FreightWaves.com, our industry has been adversely affected by a multitude of factors like the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic and the global microchip shortage, but the most impactful challenge is the increasing cost related to the electrification of the automotive market, Stellantis spokeswoman Jody Tinson said in an email to FreightWaves. There are also huge job losses in the transportation sector as demand for consumer goods plummets. Additional industries getting hit hard include crypto, finance, real estate, transportation, tech, e-commerce and more. Ongoing money printing by the U.S. Treasury and Federal Reserve, with the federal government now $31 trillion in debt, is destroying the value of the dollar and causing price inflation in nearly everything that people consume: food, fuel, clothing, appliances, home goods and more. What many American consumers haven't yet figured out is that the dollar is eventually going to zero. On the way down, it will lose value each day. The current rate of value loss is approaching 2% per month, and as a result, many consumer items will nearly double in price in 2023. California's natural gas provider SoCal Gas, for example, just announced to their customers that natural gas prices in January of 2023 would be over 100% higher than the price they paid in January of 2022. As Breitbart.com reports, a SoCal email to customers declared, SoCal Gas residential customers can expect the typical January bill likely to be more than double the typical bill last January, assuming the same amount of natural gas is used. Crypto is also getting hammered from multiple angles, far beyond the FTX collapse. It seems likely that Gemini is going to declare bankruptcy in the near future, potentially unleashing even more contagion pain for Binance and other major players. Ultimately, the Tether house of cards is likely to come tumbling down as the great crypto digital tulip bulb mania scheme evaporates. This will gut tens of thousands of jobs across the crypto industry and turn former crypto millionaires into crypto zero-naires. Used vehicle prices have plunged 14.9% year-over-year, the largest plunge in the history of the Manheim Used Vehicle Value Index, indicating plummeting consumer demand. Real estate demand is plummeting, and luxury home sales have all but collapsed across the country. Commercial office space and warehouse space is in a glut, with even Amazon closing millions of square feet of warehouse space, leaving property owners in the lurch. The bottom line: consumers have run out of extra money, and as a result, they aren't buying nearly as much as they used to. Multiple economic sectors are going to feel the pain in 2023 and beyond. Just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, globalists are planning to carry out a kind of global debt reset that would end many fiat currencies and attempt to drive people into central bank digital currencies, which serve as a control and surveillance system for governments. In order to push people into digital currencies, the powers that be have to create a crisis. This crisis will, of course, consist of psychological terrorism against the masses, frightening them with super scary stories about cyber attacks, bank failures and the like. Digital currencies will be presented as the safe option for protecting your money, and numerous incentives will be offered to pull people in, such as universal basic income payments, welfare payments, federal tax refunds, etc. The financial reset will obliterate dollar holdings, savings accounts, bonds, treasuries and more. Those people who were left holding dollars, euros or yen will be ruined, while those with hard assets, gold, silver, land, vehicles, buildings, etc. will be able to survive the transition with some or even most of their assets intact. Understand that the controlled demolition of the economy is preparation for driving desperate people into digital currencies. First, the governments have to make people impoverished and penniless. This is done by raising interest rates and dismantling economic infrastructure, including energy infrastructure. Next, the value of the existing currency has to be obliterated. This is accomplished through money printing. Finally, the trap must be sprung by fomenting a crisis to be blamed on someone else. Russian hackers, for example, while playing the victim role, the dollar is under attack. This entire scheme works better when people are more desperate, starving and impoverished, with few choices other than to surrender to the mark of the beast digital currency system. That's why you're watching Western civilization march toward World War III, economic collapse and engineered food and energy scarcity all at the same time. It's all part of the same playbook that's being implemented by globalists, Agenda 2030, who are following an anti-human, Luciferian depopulation agenda that they hope will rid the world of billions of people. So, let's get started on the latest with natural health in the news. Prevent halitosis with good oral hygiene and these natural remedies. Bad breath is the main symptom of halitosis. Addressing the cause of bad breath is normally the first step toward treating this preventable condition. Good oral hygiene and some natural remedies can help in that regard. Keeping your teeth healthy. Good oral hygiene can help reduce the need for extensive and costly dental intervention in the future. Dentists generally recommend flossing your teeth before brushing them to loosen plaque that collects around and between your teeth and get rid of hidden food particles that may be stuck between your teeth and debris from areas that a toothbrush can't reach. Flossing is a way to stimulate the gums, reduce plaque below the gum line, reduce the risk of cavities, soreness, puffiness and unsightly redness of the gums and help lower the risk of gingivitis, which can progress to periodontitis. Brush your teeth properly twice a day for at least 2 minutes. Brush the outer, inner and chewing surfaces of your teeth, moving your toothbrush gently back and forth in soft strokes or in a circular motion to remove plaque. Brush gently along the gum line to get rid of any trapped plaque or food debris. To clean the inside surfaces of your front teeth, tilt your toothbrush vertically and make several up and down strokes. Don't neglect to clean your tongue before rinsing your mouth out and brushing your teeth to get rid of the biofilm, dead cells, bacteria and food debris. Cleaning your tongue with a soft bristled toothbrush or a flexible tongue scraper protects your taste buds, eliminates bad breath, reduces the likelihood of periodontal disease and reduces the likelihood of a black tongue. Black tongue is a condition that occurs if your tongue is left uncleaned for a long time. It is caused by an overgrowth of dead skin cells, causing lengthening of the papillae, the little bumps on the top of your tongue that contain your taste buds and help grip food while your teeth are chewing and staining from bacteria, yeast, food, tobacco or other substances in the mouth. If you wear dentures, remove and clean them properly to get rid of odor causing bacterial buildup from food and drink before you go to bed at night. A study published in the International Journal of Dental Hygiene has shown that drinking water or rinsing the mouth with a glass of water helps remove up to 60% of substances that contribute to bad breath. Make sure you are adequately hydrated because water will naturally wash away food particles and any debris left behind, leaving nothing for the bacteria to eat. It also dilutes the acid in your mouth that can destroy your tooth enamel. A condition called dry mouth or xerostomia contributes to bad breath. Drinking plenty of water creates more saliva, which helps cleanse your mouth by removing particles that cause bad odors. Eat more raw, crunchy and fiber-rich fruits and vegetables like apples, carrots, celery and kale because the abrasive power of fiber in them acts like a toothbrush and is great at keeping your mouth clean. Chewing them can also help your mouth produce more saliva. Pamper the good bacteria in your gut by adding probiotics and fermented foods to your diet regimen. Scientists have found that pampering the good bacteria enables them to flourish so they can fight off the bad bacteria causing bad breath. The best way to do that is to consume more probiotic-rich foods like yogurt, kefir, kombucha tea and fermented sauerkraut or kimchi. Aniseeds, cloves and fennel seeds can also help freshen your breath naturally, thanks to their therapeutic antiseptic properties that help fight halitosis-causing bacteria. Cinnamon is another spice that has powerful antibacterial properties that kill off odor-causing bacteria. Plus, the refreshing and fragrant aroma of cinnamon masks the smell of bad breath. Chew cinnamon stick or stir it into your tea. Alternatively, you can boil 1 teaspoon of cinnamon powder in a cup of water. You may add some bay leaves and cardamom. Strain the solution and use it as a mouthwash. You can also chew a piece of thoroughly washed lemon or orange rind for a mouth-freshening burst of flavor. Their citric acid can prevent the growth of odor-causing bacteria and stimulate your salivary glands to prevent dry mouth issues. If you don't like the idea of chewing their rind, use their juice to make a mouth rinse. You can stir 1 tablespoon of lemon or orange juice into a cup of water and rinse your mouth with it. The strong, pleasant smell of these citrus fruits can help mask the bad odor. The chlorophyll in basil, cilantro, mint, rosemary and parsley also neutralizes odors. If you don't like to chew or eat them raw, make tea by adding their leaves to hot water and allowing them to steep for a few minutes. If your bad breath continues despite your best efforts, consult with a natural health practitioner to get the best treatment available. So, let's get started on the latest with prophecy in the news. Globalists' net zero crusade will lead to end of modern civilization. A cartel of powerful globalist elites including King Charles, BlackRock's CEO Larry Fink, the global banking cartel, the Ford and Rockefeller family foundations, George Soros' Open Society and countless other foundations, almost all major corporations, the entire global corporate media, the entire federal apparatus in the US and EU, along with the United Nations and World Economic Forum is pushing forward with a dangerous agenda that has become like a religion for many, especially the younger generation. It's called sustainable development and the tool to achieve it is the myth of man-caused climate change. Yes, the climate is changing, but there is zero proof that these perpetual changes, in place since the dawn of time, are caused by man's existence on the earth. By instilling fear of death and destruction from climate change, the cartel wants to take away your gasoline-fueled cars and replace them with expensive and more connected electric cars, take away your wood stoves, gas stoves and your natural gas appliances and replace them with electric appliances and electric heat pumps, take away most of your meat consumption and replace that protein in your diet with bugs and artificial lab-grown meat. And they wonder why people are getting angry. Klaus Schwab's 2022 WEF conference in Davos warned the elites to prepare for an angrier world. Why? Because they know their policies to ban most of our sources of private transportation, our sources of heating our homes, and the staples in our diet are going to upset us all. They also know they represent all of the big money interests in the world but less than 1% of the human population. 2023 is strongly looking like the year that determines if this powerful cartel will be successful in their drive toward a net zero world and digital slavery for mankind, a goal they hope to reach by 2030, according to United Nations Agenda 2030 and its 17 goals for sustainable development. When implemented to their fullest extent, these goals of the cartel of globalist predators will be able to track, trace and monitor everything, living and non-living, on Earth. Already, you can see how almost everything we do as we go about our daily lives leaves digital footprints. Think about your personal habits and how they are connected to the internet. Your Apple Watch, your vehicle, your appliances, your smart meters, your paperless digital transactions, your cell phone apps, all this data is being scooped up and stored somewhere. Once the central bank digital currency is introduced, I believe that will happen in 2023. The cartel will have what they call an almost perfect record of every single transaction that happens in the economy, as globalist economist Pippa Malmgren said at last year's World Government Summit. Information, data, is power in today's digital economy. And that's a level of power concentrated in the hands of a small group of people the likes of which the world has never before seen. No dictatorship in human history has ever had access to this level of personal data on so many people. Not even close, and all of that data will be harnessed to implement the net zero agenda. If you don't cooperate with it, and the only means of transacting being through a central bank digital currency, you will be punished for your non-compliance. you won't be able to hide your carbon-creating activities. In order to reach the goals of net zero, they will need to eliminate at least 50% of the world's population, and it explains how this cartel has cultivated a web of lies to loot the middle-class populations of the world and herd them into a new feudalistic dark age. For more information related to Bible study support, getting closer to God, staying healthy, food scarcity solutions and more, visit our friends at www.divinesourcesolutions.org.
Thanks again for tuning in with us at TNN's Daily Headline and Prophecy News with your host and angel of truth, Joan of Arc. Please join Joan every weekday, Monday through Friday, as she continues to cover hard-hitting, truth-filled news topics in these prophetic times. And remember, the truth shall set you free.